It's Wednesday, July 16th, 2014. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, Sailor Moon Crystal. Reviewing it after one episode.
That's all you need, really.
Let's do this. So yeah, we're back in bed from ConnectiCon 2014, which, from my perspective, was the most well-run, well-oiled machine I've ever seen that convention be.
Yeah, okay.
It was actually pretty amazing.
I don't know why not everyone went. There's got to be someone listening to this who wasn't there. Why didn't they go?
Well, you know, if you live in Seattle...
Probably not worth it.
Yeah, I would not fly to Connecticut. But if I lived in, say, New York City, I would go.
Yeah.
If I lived in, say, D.C., I would go.
Maybe.
I would go. What else are you going to do? Go to KatsuCon? But yeah, ConnectiCon was amazing. So I just do want to put a big shout out to all the people who came to our panels. And a lot of you might have... I noticed a huge uptick in YouTube viewership of a whole bunch of our videos, literally like Sunday of the con. And I'm wondering if that flyer I put out that had the QR code to our YouTube channel worked.
Maybe.
I wonder if people were watching YouTube videos on the way home on their phones because...
Well, check your YouTube stats. And if
yeah,
it says,
what I was about to say is
it
I
says
looked...
direct visitor, then that means someone who typed the URL in or used the QR code.
I looked, and it seems to be mostly cell phones and tablets was the increase.
There you go.
Yeah. So if you guys actually listen to the podcast, I'll be way more impressed. But yeah, and...
why don't we make a trailer for our channel that's like, hey.
I've been thinking about doing that. You know why I haven't done that? Because I've got a queue of like 5-hour-long videos I got to edit together. Never mind episode 13 of Geeknights present Shoujo Kakame Utena, which we have to video. Some weekend that isn't Netrunner. Yeah. So we're back. We didn't do a show on Monday because I kind of sounded like this, and I was tired.
And we didn't have a topic.
Yeah.
Monday topic. Send them in, people.
Now I got a topic. Let's talk about GUI frameworks.
Oh, like WX widgets?
Or like EXTJS, Sencha.
AWT, Swing.
Fuck AWT. Fuck Swing. Yeah, I got a bunch of products I deal with that have old Swing GUI, like JNLP client, Swing GUI kind of stuff. Pretty sure that's getting dropped or at least ignored by Oracle and probably is a dead end.
I haven't used any of those since college.
Yeah. But I got some other stuff that's on an old version of EXTJS, and lo and behold, the new version actually looks pretty slick. So.
You know why I stopped using all GUI thingies? It's just easier to make web pages.
Yep.
Why make a GUI when you can just make some HTML and CSS?
Yep.
It's just easier.
Yep. Maybe use a web framework where it's all JavaScript creating web pages.
That's fine. It doesn't matter.
That's okay.
The point is, it's easier to make web pages that just post and interact with APIs than
everything we just
it is
said,
to make a GUI with like multiple callbacks for every single interactive piece that, you know, every menu and every button and everything.
If everything we just said sounds like wizardry, you should listen to Geeknights Mondays, not just Geeknights Wednesdays.
Completely avoid Geeknights Mondays because it sounds like that.
If you speak the secret language, capitalized, then you should probably listen to Geeknights Tuesdays. So yeah, Sailor Moon, the old Sailor Moon's ongoing. As you recall, we did an episode remembering Sailor Moon. And
3 weeks ago, a month ago.
We did that on exactly May 21st.
Oh, so already a couple months ago.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm actually starting to, like, I skipped a bunch of episodes of the old Sailor Moon now just because that, like, I've seen those beginning episodes in the Geek Dub so many times, and I just don't care. We're just at the point where I care because Jedi's dead. Spoilers.
Pretty much anyone whose name ends in "ite" is going to die.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty much a foregone conclusion. It's not a spoiler.
Thing is, Jedi was such a punk. At least, you know, of all those guys, Malachite / Kunzite, depending on how weeaboo you were, is probably the most competent. Zoicite's probably the most evil. Nephrite's probably the most almost cool. And Jedi's just sucks.
Jedi's Glass Joe.
Yeah.
He's the Glass Joe of Sailor Moon bad guys.
I mean, he dodged Moon Tiara action, once? That was his moment. Really never made it up beyond that. Though I always got the impression that in the manga, there's a little more going on between him and that monster that he used. It's weird.
The monster was way into him, right?
And yeah, they had a relationship going, but
and
simultaneously...
he wasn't into it, so he took advantage and used her.
But simultaneously, why
him?
does Queen Beryl care so much about that one monster?
I don't know. It was a monster that maybe it was her monster. I don't know.
They're all her monsters. Well, can't spoil anything for you, but we're not even close to resolving any of that.
They're all. I mean, there's nothing to spoil. There's bad guys and good guys. Good. How can it's like trying to spoil Messenger? It's like, have I seen Messenger Z? Maybe like 2 episodes. What can you spoil? Messenger rocket punches the fuck out of every bad robot ever at the end. Maybe he's in trouble once, or twice, and maybe he gets beat up a bunch. But you know what? He comes back or gets replaced and rocket punches the fuck out of all the bad guys at the end.
I guess the thing I can really say though, and I think I cannot stress this enough, actually. I was thinking about skipping most of the first season just because I've seen this shit a million times. But in the old days when I'd watch Sailor Moon, I just marathoned like 30, 40 episodes in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe split up over like 2 days and a weekend with a bunch of people. And it got real old. Like in the middle of Sailor Moon Supers or Super S, there's a monster of the week. Here's the Pegasus, clarion call, the end. That repetitive monster of the week is not nearly so bad if you actually watch the show 1 episode a week.
2 episodes a week, but yeah, pretty much.
Because suddenly now I'm watching every transformation sequence and marveling at that animation.
Unlike other shows where the stock footage is like this crappy repeated footage, that, it's like, oh, here we go again. It's like, wow, they really did a good job on that repeated stock footage because they had to use it so many times. They put a lot of effort into it, and it's fun to watch and has good music.
I did read that the budget for the opening to season 1 of Sailor Moon cost more to animate than an episode.
Pretty typical.
Yep. But we're not talking about old Sailor Moon tonight. We're talking about new Sailor Moon. So before we get to that, it's news.
News.
We have at least like 1 new listener out there.
Yeah, so here's a pretty normal-ish news, but at least it's exciting for me. Yowamushi Pedal, bicycle anime, gonna get a movie. And why is this exciting? Not because the movie's going to be good. It's probably just going to be a slightly more well-animated recap of Season 1 if I know how these things go. And I do. Right? But it's exciting because it indicates that Yowamushi Pedal is going to be one of these long-running type animes that's got like a movie every year.
Yep.
And TV episodes that never end.
So it's gotten a step beyond Initial D's peak.
Right. So usually when you have shows like that, there's shows I don't want to watch, like Naruto or One Piece, which I would watch if it wasn't so even slower than Yowamushi Pedal.
Yeah.
But Yowamushi Pedal's about bicycling, and it's going to keep going. So, hooray. But you know what's bullshit? Season 1 ends on a cliffhanger, which is not unheard of. That's fine. But did it end right before the finish line of a race? Right?
Initial D never tried to pull anything like that. Initial D would end an episode in the middle of the race. It would not end a season.
Right. They didn't end the season right before the finish line of the race. They ended the season slightly before the finish line of the second day of a 3-day race. Oh my God, horseshit. That means that the next season in October is going to start with the end of that second day, and then they're going to start off with the 3rd day of that race. And it's like, are you kidding me? That is, there are other more suspenseful cliffhangers in other shows, say Escaflone. But
Escaflone, I think, might actually win the prize for the worst cliffhanger in all of anime ever.
You think it still might be the king? It's up there. It's tied.
So imagine
at
this.
Least.
Imagine if that episode of Escaflone was the Attack on Titan situation.
Right, but it's like that's ridiculously suspenseful. But imagine if it just like cuts off when it's not that super suspenseful. It's only moderately suspenseful. It's just like, there's so much more before the end of this race. It's only like 2/3 over, not even 2/3 over. It's like 65% over.
I'm slowly catching up on the show, and all I have to say is that really, Midousuji is far and away my favorite character.
Well, you also like Hell Orbs.
Yeah, I like Hell Orbs.
Rim likes Voldo also.
I don't like Voldo, but I play Voldo.
Rim is, ever wonder when you're playing like Soul Calibur and you
like,
see
who's Voldo?
And it's like, Voldo's the crazy guy in there, but you're like, who actually likes Voldo?
No one.
Who wants to play as Voldo?
No one.
Rim is the Voldo.
So
that's the person that you're wondering, where does that person exist? Who likes Voldo and plays Voldo? Rim is that person.
The thing is, I don't actually like
Who
Voldo.
likes Midousuji? Rim is the person who likes Midousuji.
But what happened was, when I'd play Soul Calibur, I usually would play like Raphael or the Siegfried.
Siegfried is my guy since Soul Edge.
And I'd be okay. Like I'm not. It's actually one of the few fighting games I'm not that bad at. Like I'm actually pretty good.
It makes a little bit more sense just
Yup.
to reality than other fighting games.
Yup. But no, I'm not. I'm not tournament. Don't even. I'd be last place in even like the lowest tier tournament. Don't get me wrong.
Obviously.
But one day I just started picking random characters while we were hanging out on the Game of Cube, and I got Voldo once. And I proceeded to never lose again. And then I realized that Voldo, I guess, is my fighting game spirit animal. So Midousuji is my bicycling spirit animal.
All right.
I should get a tattoo of him on my bike leg just for biking. Also, Google image search for him, and it is the best. It is a sea of joy.
I don't Google image search, but I occasionally see fan arts on Twitter, and then I favorite them.
They're the best. Midousuji.
If you look through my favorites, you'll see a lot on Twitter. You'll see a lot of fan arts. I should make an app that goes through my favorites, collects all the fan arts, and makes a gallery.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So in my news, my actual news, the nerdosphere, at least the man nerdosphere, which is basically the nerdosphere,
The Nightosphere?
is going crazy about the fact that Thor is a lady now.
What? I don't know what you just said.
Thor's a girl.
Oh, Thor. Right. That whole thing. I saw
Yes.
that.
Oh, Thor.
Well, okay, so first of all, people who don't know enough about comic books, right?
Yeah, no, we're not talking about Norse mythology.
Right, so in Marvel Comics, Thor has been a lady in the past. Pretty much anyone, see...
Well, Emily tweeted something where it's like, yeah, Thor's been a frog.
Thor has been a lot of things. So basically anyone who picks up the hammer, right, if you try to pick up the hammer, you're either going to fail or become Thor. Those are pretty much the two options, right? So, the original story is like this weak-ass dude picks it up, and Thor possesses him, basically. And he's sort of tortured because, he's trying to live a life, but Thor also possesses him, is the god of thunder.
Yeah.
And eventually, at some point in the comics, like, Thor can do things on his own and doesn't need the weak dude or whatever. I don't know.
Whoever holds this hammer,
Exactly.
way up, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Well, explain how in, I'm pretty sure, the 80s, because she had a mohawk, Storm picked it up and turned into Thor no problem.
I could explain that in a number of ways.
She's already the god of thunder without the hammer, so the hammer just like, all right, you're already Thor. So.
Perhaps Storm is actually a man.
No, that is not the case.
Well, this is what I'm getting at. The nerds in the nerdosphere are really mad about this.
These are the same people who buy comic books, much like those in the New 52 that we read, with all the boobies and cheesecake all over them.
Yep.
So fuck whatever they have to say. I don't give a shit.
So I love the fact that this happened, mostly because those people are mad.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't give a shit about Thor, what happens in any comic
I
books.
care a little bit about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but at
I
this
care
point,
none. I care less about that than I care about the comic books.
Got over lunch today, Emily was like, is there any superhero that you enjoy and follow to any degree?
Me or you?
Me. And I had to think long and hard. I was like, Batman. And then she's like, what's the most recent Batman you like? And I was like, Michael Keaton? BTAS? But then I realized there is one superhero thing that I do actually follow and
Is it an
actually
anime
enjoy.
that's technically a superhero?
No. So I really like Teen Titans Go. But again,
When was the last time you read a Teen Titans comic book?
I have never read a Teen Titans comic and never plan to because I think they're stupid.
but you just admitted that you never read one. How do you know they're stupid?
Well, I flipped through them. I've read excerpts. I read summaries of the plot, and you know what? There is no way to turn those plot points in a line into a story that I give even one fuck about.
Don't even start with that Wonder Girl bullshit, because let me tell you, that shit is fucked up.
Yeah. So this was the problem. All my favorite comic book superheroes, I like the things that aren't comics that are related to them.
I like comic books, but not perverted ones and not convoluted ones.
So the nerdosphere's mad because Thor is a girl. The conservativosphere is mad because Archie's dead. Spoilers. If you didn't
he's died before, let me tell you.
Yeah, he'll come back with like 3 more superpowers. It'll be fine. So they're mad because if you haven't paid attention, Archie dies taking a bullet for a gay friend of his and from a terror assassination attempt. And the conservativosphere is super mad about this.
too bad the people who make Archie comics are in New York and are lefties because they don't live
Yep.
in the sticks. So go fuck yourself.
So I'm enjoying the rage about these two things kind of more than I enjoy the things. I haven't read Archie, ever.
I don't know. Is that Archie getting killed, right? Is that in the Archie comic? Because there's so many different Archie comics.
Honestly,
that's like some of them don't count, right? It's sort of like this one that's like the canon.
Well, it's
and
like
then there's other one where they are in high school forever for some reason.
Well, I mean, there are two.
And then there's other ones. It's like Betty and Veronica, and it's like, is that even match up canonically in the same continuity as the main one?
There are two Adventure Time episodes that aren't canon, but we have word of God that the My Little Pony comics are 100% canon.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, look, so there's Adventure Time comics, right? Those aren't canon, but then there's like other Adventure Time comics, like Yuko did Candy Capers. Is that even canon along with the Adventure Time comics, let alone the show, right? Or is it just a completely separate thing again?
And you know what? There's only one type of sphere that cares about that.
Nerdosphere.
The Nerdosphere. So, things of the day. We don't talk about him a lot anymore. You can find some ancient episodes of Geeknights about it, but I'm actually still really into anime music videos. Like, that's always been a thing that I really liked about fan culture in the U.S.
I do really like anime music videos. We've done episodes on them, but it's just, because of the way I've been living and not going to an anime club and such, and not being in college.
You need someone else who will watch all the bullshit to find good ones.
Yeah, and I'm not going to the AMV contest to conventions either, right? And I just, I haven't really seen even the ones I've seen in recent years, and I have seen some and that are supposedly like winners at various conventions and things. They don't even hold up to like non-winners that I've seen back in the day.
I mean, I think the peak was the last Otakon we went to, where at the closing ceremonies, they were like, so this AMV that got submitted didn't win anything.
Yeah, the honorable mention was way, way better than all the other ones. I don't even remember the ones that won.
Yeah, the staff were basically like, no one voted for this video, but it was so amazing that we gave it an award. Watch it right now. And then they showed it to us. And it was that 25-25
and
video.
I don't even remember the other ones they showed us that actually won, and they're probably not that good.
Yep. So what I have for you is a music video that I actually really like.
It was also a convention winner at some point.
Yep. It's a pretty old one, but it's The Circus by Britney Spears, which
it's
actually...
not by Britney Spears. It's performed by Britney Spears and an auto-tune machine.
The Britney Spears...
That guy that I did a thing of the day about a while ago, the Northern European dude.
You already forgot his name, didn't you?
Yeah, but he's the one who made the song. I'm
Anyway,
pretty sure it is.
I had to make it clear because the best Utena video ever made is To Hit Me Baby One More Time, not performed by Britney Spears.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that song was also made by that same dude.
Probably.
I want to give him the credit and not the pretend, and the computer gets half the
doesn't really
credit
spoil,
anyway.
but just so you know what the deal is with this video, it's pretty much set to some sort of Sailor Scouts that are working with the Dead Moon Circus, which is the big villain in Sailor Moon Super S.
Which only
Which
a Dead
comes
Moon Circus.
after-
Does it exist to make Sailor Moon dead? Is that the reason it's called that?
It's more complicated than that. It has to do with there's this circus that's trying to raise this greater, much more horrible thing named Queen Nehelenia from the dead. So it's sort of a Zomagooster situation. Like,
How
bring
can a
Zomagooster
circus
back.
raise someone from the dead?
It's complicated, and also it's Sailor Moon. I mean, why does a Green Lantern... What exactly is the wavelength difference between Green Lantern's power and some other Lantern's power?
I don't know, but she should just throw a tiara at this circus and be done with it in one episode.
Yeah, that tiara doesn't really work much in later episodes. Like, that's not that powerful.
All right, we'll just throw 2 tiaras at it. I don't know. Everyone else has tiaras. They ain't throwing them.
Anyway, if you're on the fence about watching current Sailor Moon, like the old one as it's coming out again, being re-released in English with a dub and not censoring anything like the Deke releases did, hold out, because much like how Utena goes from, hey, we're fighting over a girl, to cars, Sailor Moon gets increasingly freaky as time goes on, and this is just a sampling of the freakiness into which it gets.
I like this video. It's good.
Also, I really like these characters. They're the best part of Sailor Moon Super S.
Okay.
Granted, Super S is not nearly as good as S, which has all that Holy Grail, End of the World, Sailor Saturn, Outer Senshi stuff.
How many episodes is each of these series?
That's so far away. The first, 50-something episodes are just, oh my god, Queen Beryl. Oh my god, Queen Beryl. And the 4 whatevers. No. And then the Moonlight Night. And then the Dark Moon whatever. And I just don't care about any of that. And Alan and Anne and their tree. Don't care about any of that. And then it gets good.
Well, I guess that's why Utena is better, right? There's
See,
no,
now, while
there's
I
no
s-
part of Utena where you're like, Mickey and his bullshit. Don't care about that.
Yup.
Just get to the cars.
I think that sometimes I think like, oh, I don't want to watch episode 3 of Utena again.
So I guess you do.
Yep. It's like, oh, I never noticed that before. Take notes. But no, don't get me wrong. Sailor Moon, even the early episodes,
What?
are super enjoyable to
Well,
watch.
I mean, in Sailor Moon, there's some stuff. It's like, oh, let's rewatch that episode. Ah, take notes. Norio Wakamoto is the voice of that dude.
yeah. But if we did Geeknights Presents Sailor Moon, our episode of each episode would be about 30 seconds long.
Probably.
Maybe
The
a
monster of
minute.
the week was this, and she killed it with the Tiara. Monster of the week was that, and also Tiara's
Yep.
still in the zone.
Also, did a plot thing happen? It's like, oh, and this one she actually like tried to stab somebody.
Oh, she actually kicked people in this episode, took initiative.
Yeah.
And Tuxedo Mask did not help.
Yeah, where was Tuxedo Mask?
He was at the arcade. We saw him.
Yes, with his friend.
And his really too big shirt that was like a dress.
Oh my god. Tuxedo Mamoru dresses like a putz. I don't know what else to say.
I don't dress nicely, but I dress more nicely than that.
Well, Onorobo did a great takedown of the tuxedo he's wearing in Crystal, and basically she was like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. That is literally the worst white tie tuxedo anyone's ever worn.
Mm-hmm.
And she fixed it. So you got a thing of the day?
I do have a thing today. So there's this girl. Her name is Casey Cantanzaro.
Yeah, so if you type Kacy into
There's not a lot
Google,
of people named Casey who have any amount of fame whatsoever.
KC Green.
That's KC, not
KC?
K-A-C-Y.
As opposed to Casey?
Anyway. So she's just some badass gymnast girl, right? She probably did gymnastics her whole life. And there's that remake of, quote, Ninja Warrior. The real name of it is, I forget. Anyway, the Japanese show is the real show. The American show, I guess the obstacle courses are similarly evil, but the announcers are infuriatingly.
So how tall is Casey?
She's only 5 feet tall.
What's her wingspan?
Oh my God! Can
What's
you
her
believe that
wingspan?
she's only 5 feet tall?
She's
And
got no
only
wingspan.
100 pounds. Oh my God! Can you
No
believe
wingspan,
it?
no
Let me repeat
wingspan.
that for you 10 times. Anyway,
Wingspan.
the announcers need to die in a fire. I'd rather just have unintelligible Japanese voices. That'd be much better.
Yeah.
Uh,
or even the fake dubs from some of those other shows, like Takeshi's Castle.
Right. But she does this obstacle course at the Dallas Finals, so I guess it's like they have different difficulties based on like how high in the competition it is. So like I guess if you go to like, you know, a city final, it's like this is the course that you get. And I guess if you go to a regional or something, it's even harder, and then the national is even harder and so forth. But apparently no girl ever, no female ever has gotten past like a certain part. Not only does she get past that part, she just gets to the end of a thing that most dudes just fail immediately.
Yep. It's pretty
And-
amazing to watch.
And at first, it's sort of like, okay, yeah, she's a professional gymnast. Of course she would get past that part. Of course. And it doesn't look that impressive.
then that red thing.
But yeah, but then there's like the red thing that like purposefully leans away from where you're supposed to jump to. And it's just like, oh, oh my God. So just put it on mute and watch it.
So in the meta moment, our book club book is currently A Canticle for Leibowitz.
I should read books.
Yeah. I'm working on my 4th novel since I finished it, waiting for Scott to read it.
I'll read some books.
Yeah, you read some books.
Maybe when I have to read some comic books.
And if you're a new listener, to keep it brief, we have a forum and it's fucking amazing. And we also have 2 YouTube channels, mine and Scott's, that have a lot of video of a lot of things we've done.
Mine is 90% Netrunner videos and 1% bicycling and fireworks videos.
Mine is mostly our own lectures and panels and all the other shows that we do, like Geeknights Presents
the things you
Utena.
probably want to watch,
And
unless you
Radio
care about
Free-
Netrunner, bicycles, or fireworks.
Yeah, Radio Free Equestria, all that kind of stuff.
Maybe I'll make some other kinds of videos.
I might put up a time lapse of what it looks like from panel ops at ConnectiCon for an entire day.
Okay.
Anyway.
Did you actually keep replacing that GoPro battery? All
Yes.
day?
Until I ran out of GoPro batteries and I realized I forgot my GoPro battery charger.
Mm.
And I thought, there's a dead time now. I'll charge one of the batteries in the GoPro. Nope. Micro USB.
No, it's mini USB.
Yep.
Oh. You
Yup.
only brought the micro USB cables.
I forgot I even own anything that takes mini USB.
GoPros are mini USB.
Thanks, GoPro.
I could have told you that.
Yeah, I just forgot. Because when was the last time I plugged a USB cable into one of those?
GoPros are also mini HDMI. My camera is micro HDMI.
I have both a mini and a micro cable just because.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though apparently no one presenting at the con did.
Other meta moments. The next convention is all the way in September, August-ish time, Labor Day weekend. It's PAX, the real PAX.
The Penny Arcade Expo
It's
in
sold
Seattle.
out. It's sold out. Why are you even bother telling you about it? If you're going already, you're going, and
We
you're
will
already
be
listening
there.
to this, you know it.
It's going to be awesome. We're going to be at that same charity dinner that we went to last year before it, but that appears to be sold out too.
Yep.
So, yeah, if you already planned on going, we'll see you there. If not, we'll see you at some other point, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I guess my next convention at least is it looks like I am going to PAX Australia. So I'm going to sort all that business out. Scott can decide at any point if he's coming.
I don't know. It might be too late.
Yeah. I still got to book plane tickets and all that.
Yeah. And then I guess after that, PAX South / MagFest.
Yep.
All the way in January.
Yep. So it's finally, convention season's calming down, which means...
Well, we could go to more conventions if you wanted to.
Actually, you know what I kind of want to do instead? Just rent a place to sleep in Wildwood and just go.
We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, I think I got to go to a beach.
Let me quit my job and do whatever I want.
All right, let me quit. Tell you what, I will work for you. As long as you pay for me to have food and pay my rent, I will make as much media as you want for up to 15 hours a week. Because the rest of the time, I'm going to be biking and laying on the beach. So, yeah, Sailor Moon, Crystal.
So there's only one episode of this, and I thought we'd have a second episode by now, but apparently it's coming out once every 2 weeks or some bullshit like that. I don't even know.
Yep. So we're not really fully reviewing this. I'm not going to pretend. We're not going to pull our Judge Anime.
But
badge
we don't
cover.
need to fully review this.
Yeah, we're going to watch every episode as it comes out because even if it ends up not being that good, it's important enough to we're going to have to talk about this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some concerns.
You're concerned? I'm also concerned.
So having watched the first episode, it's
Mhm.
pretty much the same as the first chunk of the manga, pretty much the same as the first episode of the old anime, but the animation actually, I think, is worse in many ways.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, we knew from the screenshots that, like, it was using a different kind of art style than
which
the old
I'm
show.
fine with.
Which
Don't get me wrong.
You can use whatever art style you want. And I thought that the art style used more looked like some of the manga, right, than, the old show did. But seeing it animated, it's like you can see tons and tons of people online showing you examples, and they're all right. Every single one of them is correct. They're showing you, like, how the facial expressions are not as expressive. And
everyone has the same sort of doughy-eyed look all the time.
yeah, and how the poses are not dynamic or exciting.
It's like the show, the first episode.
It's like the colors are brighter and the resolution is higher, but there's just no energy in the
It
movement
reminds
of
me of
anything.
a lot of the assignments I would turn in back at university, where it technically meets all the requirements of a moderately to big budgetedly made anime, and it hits all the required points of Sailor Moon, but it has zero charm. Watching the first episode of the old Sailor Moon actually was really funny and really, I really liked it.
Yeah, it's like I'm just, you watch the new one and it's like there's a, cutscene where they transform and they've seen it 10,000 times. But it's like every time she says she's going to punish you, it's like, yeah.
Oshiokio. Meanwhile, the new one, let's get right into it. The transformation sequence that we see the first time, which traditionally, when there's stock animation, like
The
a
first
transformation,
time it comes out is insane.
yes. And then every other time it comes out, you watch it because it probably had a huge budget and was probably had a ton of attention put into it.
Watch your tenor walk up them stairs over and over
Yeah.
again.
This transformation sequence is obviously kind of like slapdashly put together, cell shaded 3D, and they didn't even bother making the poses dynamic, and it just kind of looks like shit.
It's not even that it looks bad. It's just it doesn't give you any. It doesn't make you feel like excited at all. It's just like it doesn't have the feeling in it. Just like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up with my shit. Here
But
it comes.
the cell shaded 3D part, like there's when she kind of leans forward and moves a little bit, like it looks bad. It stands out as, hey, that's way more CG than the other parts.
That is definitely true.
And it worries me because if you're it's kind of like when people started making all these MOBAs. So they're taking an old thing, Dota, and they're trying to figure out what parts of it are important and make a new version. I worry that the people making Sailor Moon Crystal are picking the wrong parts to put their attentions on. And that worries me a lot because I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
Well, we can just watch the old one again instead.
We're going to watch the old one. And
we'll eventually get to that circus.
Oh, you're going to like that circus.
All right, so other things about Sailor Moon Crystal that are problematic, right? So just, first of all, she doesn't say Moon Tiara action. She says Moon Tiara boomerang, which also completely lacks energy and doesn't even fit, really. It just sounds
does
bad.
action fit so much better?
It just sounds more forceful, like action, as
sure
opposed
that
to like
isn't just because
boomerang.
You saw Sailor Moon old first?
The three, it's not even what the word is. It's just that it has 3 syllables, so it doesn't have the same attacking
I'm not
power.
nitpick to that level.
I don't like it. If it was any other 2-syllable word, it would have worked, right? It could have been like attack or hook shot or something, but the 3 syllables sort of. It's like when someone's telling a poem and they mess up the last word, and it's like, eh.
So there is something interesting with the new Sailor Moon, though, because the old one, it's 200 episodes going all the way up through Sailor Stars, and it moves kind of slow. I mean, new Sailors
You don't
appear.
say.
Like the new one, what? How many Sailor Scouts are there right now? 3?
Well, if you count Sailor Moon, yeah.
Yep.
And
3?
Sailor V, I mean, you know about.
Yeah, but she's off doing her own thing.
You don't even know what she's up to.
So, do you know what the titles are for the first 3 episodes of the new Sailor Moon Crystal?
Mm-hmm.
Episode 1, Sailor Moon. Episode 2, Sailor Mercury. Episode 3, Sailor Mars.
All right, 1 per episode.
So,
is that the pace the manga went at, though?
The manga moves pretty quick because it doesn't really have the same Monster of the Week thing going on. Granted,
Right.
I have not read that much of the manga.
So that's what I've been told, is that it's sort of doing this, it's following the manga pretty closely, and that's, the pacing in the manga is faster and does not have Monsters of the Week. So that's perfectly okay.
And that's, in fact, what I wanted.
Yeah.
But, there's no charm. There's no energy. I already started losing interest in the first episode.
Right. So one thing that also noticed that was a significant difference, and I don't know what the manga's like in this regard, is that Sailor Moon and obviously Tuxedo Mask, but not Tuxedo Mask guy, right, weren't just fighting and hating each other immediately. She was all blushing and shit.
It's not Darien being weird and kind of a needless dick.
Right.
Instead, it's Mamoru being cool and mysterious in his really badly put together tuxedo that apparently he just wears.
And he's actually wearing the tuxedo on the street as opposed to wearing doofy clothes.
Yep.
And he's got a Dracula amulet on his neck.
Yep.
Like he's fucking Dracula or some shit. And then he wears the same one when he's...
Yep. And also he's like, I'm looking for the crystal, blah, blah, blah. I have a plot, not just... Who's the guy in the tuxedo who keeps showing up?
Well, that's actually a good part.
Yes.
That's a positive. There are some positives, but the negative that they weren't fighting sort of, that removes a whole element of the show, right? It's like, oh, they're going to get together, and they do, as opposed to they're fighting and then they're going to get together, which is completely different.
Yep. But in terms of, so even if they're going at this pace, it's scheduled to be 26 episodes.
What's going to happen at the end of the 26 episodes?
There is no way this is getting anywhere past Queen Beryl and Metallo, whatever, and all that stuff. So at best, it's going to cover the first main arc of Sailor Moon. So there's definitely going to be no Holy Grail.
Yeah, but at least the pace it's going, we can see Jedi get the axe in episode 4.
Yeah. If not sooner. The show should start, and the first scene is just Jedi's grave. So we'll see. So I was looking around a little bit more because, I haven't really paid attention to a lot of the creative team for Sailor Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And the director, Munehisa Sakai, doesn't have a lot listed here in the Anime News Network. It's mostly production advancement for Dragon Ball Z movies 10, 11, and 12, and directing 2 One Piece movies.
Oh, well, One Piece movies.
Strong World and Dream Soccer King !
Ooh, soccer and One Piece together. Every Japanese kid would that's probably their favorite fucking movie of all time.
Yeah. So I don't know anything about this person, and Anime News Network did not give me enough to go on.
I mean, I haven't, read. I'm sure other people know the correct things that have happened in the production of this show. I know there were delays involved, but, I get the feeling, just knowing that it was delayed and from seeing the end result, that They made this because they felt they had to because of the anniversary of something that, Sailor Moon was big in Japan, unlike some other things which are only big in the U.S., right? Don't have that many hundreds of episodes made of something that's not popular, right? It was really popular there, and it's the anniversary of it. So I think they felt they had to do this, just like they made Macross Zero on the anniversary of Macross.
Yup.
So, but they're doing it because they had to, but no one necessarily wanted to or felt they had to, put a big effort into it. Any people were putting in a big effort of putting it in on new things, not on something that you feel like, oh, we have to do this. Okay, let's do it. So it's sort of like, you can tell watching it that it's like not even the B team. It's like the C team. It's just like, all right, guys, just make something. I don't even give a shit about how quality it is. Just do it.
And that's my worry. Unless it moves at such a pace that I'll keep going with it just because it's dragging me along and the plot's moving rapidly and I'm getting to see. I want to see all the stuff that I know it's subtext in the old anime, but there's a lot to that subtext in the manga around like some of the villains and some of the past of some of these people and all these things. I wonder if this show is going to address all that or not. And I'm really curious where it's going to go, but I'm getting a Kaze no Yojimbo feeling.
Yep. I'm also curious, right? Because I've never been to Japan in my life. But we know even in the U.S., even among non-nerds, right, nostalgia and licensed properties can sell, right? Look at Transformers. You don't need to keep it accurate, but you can sell some old licensed property to everyone. And a lot of non-nerds watch Transformers as a kid, or at least know it's a thing. And so because it was popular once, you can sell it again, and it has like guaranteed sales because of that, even amongst non-nerds. In Japan, how much nostalgia is there really?
Well, I can say one thing.
Right? Can you sell Sailor Moon just because it was once popular, or will only the otakus buy it and not the normal people won't give any shits?
So a few years ago...
Or can you sell Sailor Moon to everyone?
A few years ago, when I was in Japan with Emily, we saw a lot of Madoka stuff around because that
was a new thing.
That was the hot thing.
Right.
But we also saw equal, if not more, Fist of the North Star.
But was that only in Nerd Zone?
Oh, that was outside.
In all zones?
It was in nerd zones, but it would edge into non-nerd zones. Like, you'd see it there.
But did you see Sailor Moon anywhere?
In the nerd zones, I saw Sailor Moon. I don't recall seeing Sailor Moon anywhere that was not a nerd zone.
Well, I mean, they weren't selling it at the time, right? But it's like, but then again, they weren't selling Fist of the North Star at the time. What Fist of the North Star anime or manga is there to sell?
Nothing will ever prove my points about media and anime.
Your anecdotes won't prove anything? What?
Then that moment where I found it, there was this Japanese variety show from like the late 90s, early 2000s. And I think it was early 2000s. And offhandedly, one guy just makes a reference to Fist of the North Star and everybody gets it. Everybody. The audience laughs. The old host of this variety show thing starts laughing. He's like, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. I don't know if Sailor Moon still has that level of penetration.
Yeah, could you go on a Japanese variety show and be like, in the name of something, I'll punish you, and have people know what you're talking about?
They might. I don't know.
They might get the joke, but are people still buying it, right?
Yeah. So we'll see. Like I said, I have some concerns. A little worried that this is not going to be that great. I worry that a lot of people who are really into it are lying to themselves like I have done with anime that I thought I should like in the past. If it's bad, it's okay to stop watching it.
I think it's just that people here, they like Sailor Moon so much, and it is still, I didn't watch it.
Now this is what I think is going to hurt it.
It's still good.
I think that re-releasing the old Sailor Moon high quality is going to hurt Sailor Moon Crystal. Because as I watch them both
if you're
in
watching
parallel,
one, you might as well watch both.
But as I'm watching them in parallel, it really makes the lack of energy and lack of care stand out watching the old one, which was obviously made with a lot of love, and watching this new sort of clinical reinterpretation.
Yeah. People, the re-release of the old one's going to continue well long after Sailor Moon Crystal is over, so...
Yep. But it's just that's it. The first episode of any show has to draw you in. In fact, usually we complain about shows where the first episode is so amazing that you'll watch 10 more before you realize the show is actually stupid. Yu Yu Hakusho, Naruto,
Bleach.
What other show really bothered me? Eden of the East.
Blue Earth SOS.
Yeah. In fact, we did a panel on that. So it kind of worries me that the first
Well,
episode.
Eden of the East, yeah.
Yeah, Eden of the East. It's like every episode was worse than the previous one, and the end of that show was a bad anime. But the first episode looked like it was going to be the best anime to come out that year, if not like that decade.
Get Backers had like 2-3 good episodes before it devolved into shonen fighting tournament up a tower.
So we'll see what happens. Not super excited. Gonna keep watching it. Maybe they'll bring it around. Might just be too clinical, too by the book, too soulless.
Trying to make a joke.
Not really.
Yeah.
What joke would I be making?
Sailor Moon is like only some people have souls and shit.
Oh, yeah. I guess I wouldn't try to make that joke because you haven't seen any of that yet.
But you already told me that.
I did explain something.
And I really don't care either.
I'm surprised you paid attention enough to what I was saying about Sailor Moon.
It's impossible to spoil a Monster of the Week show.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.